Hey everyone, and welcome to our deep dive, this time into real-time data acquisition.
Real-time data acquisition.
Yeah, it's a bit of a mouthful, I know, but stick with us. It's a fascinating topic. We're talking about getting information, like as it happens, think live traffic updates on your phone or your smartwatch, tracking your heartbeat, all that good stuff.
And you might be surprised to learn that this whole idea of needing instant information, it's not exactly new. We can actually trace it all the way back to World War II.
Seriously, World War II, I was reading this article by William L. Weaver.
William L. Weaver?
Yeah, in Scientific Computing and Instrumentation.
Oh, yeah.
From way back in June 2002.
Wow.
And he talks about how the U.S. Air Force had this massive challenge during the war. Their gunners needed to be able to identify enemy aircraft, like, super fast.
Absolutely crucial in those dogfights. One wrong move.
Yeah, exactly. The consequences could be, catastrophic.
And to solve this problem, they developed this really clever device called a tachistoscope.
The tachistoscope? What is that?
Yeah. It was basically a machine that would flash images of aircraft silhouettes on a screen, but only for super short bursts of time.
So like a hardcore training montage for their eyeballs.
Haha. Yeah, pretty much. They kept shortening the time the images were visible, like really pushing the gunners to identify the aircraft faster and faster.
So how did they do, were they able to keep up with that?
The results were incredible. Some Navy gunners, after training with this thing, could identify aircraft with 100% accuracy after just a 100-millisecond glimpse.
Wait, 100 milliseconds? That's insanely fast.
It is super fast. It's like their brains were turned into human supercomputers.
So it wasn't just about, seeing quickly. It was about processing that visual data super fast, too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this need for speed, it actually started to impact how we process information in general, not just visual stuff.
Oh, interesting. So how did that play out?
Well, think about speed reading techniques that became really popular, like the Evelyn Wood Reading Dynamics program.
Oh, yeah, speed reading. I remember trying that back in college. Not sure how much I actually absorbed, though.
Well, a lot of people were really into it in the 50s and 60s. It was all about training your eyes to take in whole chunks of words at once instead of reading word by word.
So like upgrading your brain's bandwidth.
Yeah, exactly. And it really did increase people's reading speed significantly.
But it makes you wonder, is speed really enough? I mean, think about it. We are just bombarded with information these days constantly.
All the time.
My email inbox is a perfect example. It's like an overflowing dam of messages.
Overflowing is a good word.
Even if I could speed read through all of them, how would I even know which ones are actually important?
That's the key question, isn't it? Speed is great, but it's not everything. You need to be able to filter through all that noise and prioritize what truly matters.
So it's not just about drinking from the fire hose. It's about knowing which stream to drink from.
Haha, I like that analogy. And that's where things get really interesting. It's about finding that sweet spot between speed and comprehension.
Because our brains can only handle so much at once, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Our brains are actually incredibly good at filtering information and focusing on what's relevant. It's like a built-in defense mechanism.
So in a way, our brains are already doing real-time data acquisition.
You could say that. But with this explosion of digital information, we need to become even more efficient at processing and prioritizing all this data.
So how do we do that? How do we upgrade our brains for the digital age?
Well, there are strategies and techniques that can help. One example is Dr. Phyllis Mindell's power reading technique.
Power read?
Yeah, it became popular in the 80s, and it focuses on quickly scanning through material, identifying the critical parts, and flagging them for a closer look.
So it's like having a personal assistant for your brain. Sort through everything and highlight the important stuff.
Exactly. It's about working smarter, not harder.
So how does all of this connect to, real-time data acquisition as a whole?
Well, real-time data acquisition, or DAQ, as it's often called, is essentially about continuously monitoring and analyzing data from all sorts of sources as it comes in. It's about making sense of this constant flow of information and reacting to it in a meaningful way.
Okay, so it's more than just speed reading emails. It's about making sense of information from everywhere all the time.
Exactly, and that everywhere all the time part is crucial because when we talk about real time, there are actually different levels of urgency. It's not all fighter jet, life or death scenarios.
Okay, so there are different flavors of real time. Tell me more.
We can break it down into soft real-time and hard real-time. Soft real-time is all about data that's important, but not super time sensitive, like monitoring the temperature in a building. If the data is delayed by a few seconds or even minutes, it's not a huge deal.
Right, you're not going to have a meltdown if the temperature readings are a bit delayed.
Yeah.
So what about hard real-time? Is that where things get intense?
Exactly. Hard real-time is all about immediate action, split-second decisions. These systems need to respond to data instantaneously, Any delay could have serious consequences.
Give me a hard real-time situation then. What kind of data needs that kind of instant response?
Think about an automated flight control system. It needs to process data from multiple sensors and adjust the aircraft's controls in real time to ensure a safe flight.
So even a tiny delay could be catastrophic.
Exactly. It's a completely different ballgame.
Okay, so hard real-time is like the air traffic control of the data world, making sure everything runs smoothly and no information crashes and burns.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
But with all this data pouring in from everywhere, different levels of urgency, how do we manage it all? I mean, didn't early computer systems really struggle with this kind of multitasking?
You're absolutely right. Early computers weren't exactly juggling masters. They used something called cooperative multitasking, where programs had to politely take turns using the processor.
It was like a digital version of sharing nicely.
Yeah, pretty much. But this could cause problems if one program got greedy or got stuck in a loop. It could hog the processor and prevent other programs from running.
Oh, so the whole system could freeze up.
Exactly. It was a recipe for frustration.
Oh, I definitely remember those days. Waiting for the computer to unfreeze felt like an eternity. But didn't things get better with, like, preemptive multitasking?
Absolutely. Modern operating systems like the ones on your phone or laptop use preemptive multitasking. This is where the operating system steps in and forces programs to share the processor.
So it's like a digital traffic cop directing the flow of information.
Exactly. It's all about keeping things running smoothly.
Okay, so preemptive multitasking is like having a bouncer at a club, making sure no program hogs the stage for too long.
Haha, I love that analogy.
Yeah.
But even with these advancements, regular operating systems still can't quite handle the demands of hard real-time data, right?
So what do they use then? What can handle that kind of pressure?
That's where things get really interesting, but we'll dive into that after a quick break. Yeah, just a quick one to catch our breath, and then we'll be right back to explore the world of real-time operating systems. So before the break, we were talking about how regular operating systems, even with all their fancy multitasking, they just weren't quite ready for that high-stakes world of hard real-time data.
Right, it's like they're great at handling everyday tasks, but not quite cut out for, like a Formula One race.
Perfect analogy. And that's where this thing called a real-time operating system comes in, or RTOS for short.
RTOS sounds serious, like it means business.
It does. It's all about precision and control.
So break it down for me. What makes an RTOS so special?
Think of it like this. An RTOS is like the ultimate taskmaster. It's a conductor leading an orchestra of data. It's designed to prioritize tasks and guarantee that the most critical ones are completed on time every single time, no matter how much data is flying around.
Okay, so it's like that air traffic controller we talked about before.
Right.
But instead of planes, it's managing streams of data, making sure nothing collides or gets delayed.
Exactly. An RTOS ensures that crucial data gets the VIP treatment no matter how much other information is vying for attention. And this brings us back to data acquisition hardware. Remember those DAQ cards we mentioned earlier?
Right, those are the ones that connect to sensors and collect all the raw data, right?
Exactly. But early DAQ cards, even when they were connected to powerful computers, they were still limited by the operating system's abilities.
So it's like having a super fast sports car stuck in rush hour traffic.
Exactly. Frustrating, isn't it?
Totally. So how did they solve that problem? Did they give the DAQ cards their own personal lane?
In a way, yes. They gave those cards their own mini brains.
Their own brains.
What do you mean? Engineers started embedding a dedicated microprocessor directly onto the DIQ card itself.
So it could think for itself.
Exactly. This allowed it to handle data acquisition tasks independently, bypassing the limitations of the computer's operating system.
That's so clever. So even if the computer was busy with other tasks or crashed, the DAQ card could keep collecting that critical data.
Precisely. This innovation was driven by the need for efficiency in real-time data processing, and it paved the way for even more amazing advancements.
Okay, I'm officially intrigued. What happened next in this data acquisition saga?
Remember that article by William L. Weaver from 2002?
Yeah.
He was talking about some pretty futuristic stuff even back then, and some of it is starting to become reality. Researchers are now exploring something called real-time sensor distribution algorithms.
Real-time sensor distribution algorithms.
Yeah.
Okay, you're going to have to break that down for me. What is that and why should I care?
Imagine a network of sensors all communicating with each other, constantly adjusting how they collect and share data based on what's happening around them. It's like having a team of reporters spread across a city, each one focusing on the most important events as they unfold.
So it's like a dynamic network of sensors that can adapt and respond to changes in real time.
Exactly. And this technology could revolutionize how we monitor and manage everything from traffic flow to environmental conditions.
We could get ahead of problems before they even happen.
Exactly. The data would give us the insights we need to make more informed decisions.
It sounds incredibly complex.
It is. But the potential benefits are enormous.
It's amazing to think how far we've come from gunners trying to identify planes in a split second to a future where networks of sensors are helping us understand and manage the world around us in ways we never thought possible.
It really highlights the power of human ingenuity and our drive to push the boundaries of what's possible.
It's both exhilarating and a little bit daunting, isn't it? To think about how much our world is changing and how quickly things are evolving.
It is. But I think it's also a reminder that we have an incredible opportunity to shape the future. The choices we make today about how we develop and use real-time data will have a profound impact on the world we create.
So it's not just about the technology itself, it's about our values, our ethics, and our vision for the future.
Absolutely. Real-time data is a powerful tool, but it's up to us to decide how we wield that power. We need to be thoughtful, responsible, and always mindful of the human impact.
Well said. So as we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I'm left with a sense of wonder and also a healthy dose of responsibility. It's clear that real-time data is here to stay, and it's going to continue to transform our world in ways we can only begin to imagine.
It's an exciting time to be alive, and I, for one, am eager to see what the future holds for this incredible technology.
And we hope you are too.
Yeah.
But for now, we need to take another quick break. We'll be back in a moment to explore some of those potential future scenarios. Stay tuned. All right, we are back and ready to wrap up our deep dive into the world of real-time data acquisition.
And we're stepping into the future now.
Yeah, the future. What kind of world are we looking at when this tech is everywhere?
Well, imagine cities that can predict and respond to traffic jams in real time.
No more rush hour.
Exactly. They could adjust traffic signals, suggest alternate routes, keep everything flowing smoothly.
I can see it now. No more road rage.
Now think about healthcare. What if we had wearable sensors that constantly monitored our vital signs?
Like a personal health checkup 24/7.
Right. And they could alert doctors to potential problems before we even notice any symptoms.
That's like a health guardian angel looking out for you.
And what about environmental monitoring? We could have networks of sensors tracking pollution levels, deforestation, weather patterns, all in real time.
So we could actually get ahead of those issues instead of always reacting to them.
Exactly. The data would give us the insights we need to protect our planet.
It's incredible to think about all the possibilities, but it also makes you wonder, are we going to become too reliant on this data? What happens to good old-fashioned human intuition and judgment?
That's a great point. I think the key is to remember that real-time data is a tool. It's not a replacement for human decision-making. It can give us amazing insights, but ultimately we need to be the ones steering the ship.
So it's all about finding that balance again, using the data to empower us not to dictate our every move.
Exactly. Embracing the possibilities while also recognizing the limitations.
I bet William L. Weaver would be blown away if he could see how far this technology has come since his article in 2002.
I think he would.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he'd be even more excited about the possibilities that are still to come.
It really is mind-boggling. It's exhilarating and a little bit scary all at the same time.
It is. It's a reminder of how quickly our world is changing and how important it is to be mindful of how we develop and use these powerful technologies.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of real-time data acquisition, I'm left with a sense of wonder and also a deep sense of responsibility. This technology is going to continue to shape our world in profound ways, and it's up to us to make sure it's used for good.
Well said. I think that's a perfect note to end on.
It's been an amazing journey exploring this topic, and we hope you've enjoyed it as much as we have. Thanks for joining us, and until next time, stay curious and keep exploring.